What is up? This is Lars Hedenborg back for another edition of Real Estate Team Builders. I'm the founder of Real Estate B School. And on this episode, I had the pleasure of chatting with my friends, Greg and Matt over at Real Estate Uncensored. I've been on their show a couple times prior, and it was really just a great conversation about, given the same amount of hours in a week and, typically the same amount of, we all start out with, not a whole lot of talents. How is it that some of us can excel at a high level in the areas of life and business that we attempt to succeed in? And why is it that some of us struggle? And we got into probably a 40-minute conversation, just digging into all of that. It was an awesome conversation. So stay tuned for that. And I'll just leave you with this. If you're at the point in your business journey where you want to know what these stages of growth are and how to navigate them so you can go from 100,000 GCI to 500,000 to $1 million to $1.5 million, 2 million, 3 million plus, these 6 stages of growth, I navigated them in about 6 years. New to the business to $3 million plus business where I was working only Tuesdays when I was in town. And if you want to get a sense of what that is and what that might look like for you, no matter where you are in the journey, if you're struggling to grow, even if you're running $1 million business, but you're losing your mind, you're working way too many hours, go to realestatebusinessgrowth.com, realestatebusinessgrowth.com to pick up a free copy of a report I put together called the Real Estate Business Growth Navigator. So go to realestatebusinessgrowth.com and we will see you soon. Stay tuned for the episode I did on Real Estate Uncensored.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Real Estate Uncensored. We have a very special guest. Lars Hedenborg is back, and we are talking about how to double your production and cut your hours in half. So it's very timely. We are sitting, as we record this, in November of 2021. We are past a lot of the issues, lockdowns. We're in the middle of maybe a supply chain crisis, but real estate keeps trucking, and we're coming into a new year. So if you are setting your goals around this time for next year, the temptation is to go, great, I'm going to double my business. Awesome. How are you going to do it? That's what we're going to talk about. So before we bring Lars in, of course, my esteemed colleague, the junior grandmaster himself, is in the co-pilot seat where you so belong. Greg McDaniel, what's up today?
And I'm all over 2,000 miles away from you, so which makes life even better for you.
So, and you're a big guy, so it's slightly out of arm's length.
Hey,
slightly.
I have lost weight lately. Thank you very much. I've lost actually another 20 plus pounds. So damn. Screw you on the big guy thing. Okay. Right. But I got to tell you a funny story. A lot of people kind of criticize me for walking my dog a lot. And they're like, why aren't you out doing prospecting and so on and so forth? I'm in negotiations for a $2.5 million and a $1.8 million deal based upon dog park relationships. So, you know what? I just think it's kind of fun and, get a little weird, make yourself a billboard, and then we're going to talk to Lars about how, double X your business for next year. Sadly, Matt, you're not going to be able to contribute to this conversation, but Lars and I are going to have a great call.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Oh my gosh. All right, Lars, welcome back. What's up, man?
What is up, guys? So it's even that last comment. I think I will say I'm accused of being a little preachy when we get into a conversation like this about like, where do you spend your time? What are the activities that get you the results that lead to money in your bank account? But it transcends real estate. It's there's so many people that are claiming to want to achieve, in their work, in their finances, in all the different areas of life that we want to achieve at a high level. And then, man, very rarely does anybody achieve anything anymore. There's so much distraction. There's so much good stuff that we can get wrapped up in. And in the real estate industry specifically, we are just bombarded with all the good stuff we should be doing, and we never get enough traction. We're never consistent enough. We're never persistent enough. And being successful is oftentimes boring, and it's doing a whole lot less things, not more things. And I think that's kind of the misconception of doubling, selling more houses in less time and doing it with less stress. So this is like my most favorite topic because it makes people the most uncomfortable. If I could follow everyone that has a claim, like, okay, you want to double your production? Let me follow you around for 2 weeks and see where you actually spend your time. Mm-hmm. And then we can get after it. But nobody really wants that level of accountability. Nobody wants to limit the addictions or the sedations or, whatever you're doing to get by, because we're all barely getting by, right?
Yeah.
It's those things that are taking you out of, they're taking you off track from achieving what you actually say you want to achieve.
You know what, Lars, when it comes to addictions, I have to say this publicly. I'm very proud of Matt. He just went to Coffee Anonymous for the first time, and they all welcomed him, and he's on his road to recovery. So Matt, welcome. My name's Greg, and yes, now we can talk.
That is not where I thought that was going, but I'll take it.
I know.
I've been on decaf for 2 years, man. I'm flying high with that. Like I should earn some kind of token or a chip for what I've done. Oh,
I'm gonna make one for you for Christmas.
Thank you. I would appreciate that. All right. So brief background. So for those of you that are listening and can't see this, you can see the mic flag on Lars's mic is for Real Estate Team Builders, which is a show that our agency produces. And so there, Lars gets to talk to some of these amazing real estate team leaders and talk about how they've essentially done what we're talking about, doubled and while cutting their time in half. Lars, you're amazing at helping people not only do that, but also one of the first things that you help people do is come in and evaluate what they're spending on leads. And often you find that they're way overspending. They're literally throwing money down the drain on leads that they don't follow up with. And so you're helping them save money right off the bat. But I just wanted to point out that to like get in touch and get more of Lars' message and hear some of these amazing stories, make sure to go check out the podcast Real Estate Team Builders. You can look that up on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. So that's what we want to kind of shine a spotlight on here is just some of the conversations that you've had lately. There was one with Jonathan, an agent that came up that you did like a follow-up video about that kind of spurred us to chat on this topic. So I want to delve a little bit into that. What are some of the, maybe tell us a little bit about Jonathan's story, some of the other stories of agents that have really grabbed your attention since you've been doing the podcast, and maybe some examples of what they did. What did they do differently?
Yeah. And so it's a typical story, so Jonathan's story was, you're eyeballs deep in everything in the business, and you can only do so much. And the business sort of drags you out of bounds. Like you're working more hours than you should, or you're not fulfilling on the obligations at home. Your physical body is being ignored and all of that. And so Jonathan's story was, he'll do 200 million this year, and he's working no evenings and weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And he still does listing production, but his team is only 4, maybe now 5 agents, I think 3 administrators, and he's the main listing agent. And he's doing 200 million. And so how does that happen? Like how can one person, and granted it's not one person, but he's making more money in less time with less stress than he was a few years ago. And it also makes me think of Dan Jones, who's one of our coaches now. He started on my real estate team in my market, got licensed to become an agent on my team. He'll do 300 sides this year, working 4 days a week. And he didn't have a sales background. He kind of saw it from the inside even before we had a coaching program. But it's just a question of like, where for me, and this is a calculation everyone should do. And most people won't take action on the next step of this, but when I finished my first 10 months in real estate, I only netted 37,000. So I had like 250K GCI top line. I gave 75 to my broker, which was not sustainable. And then I netted 37. I worked about 2,000 hours in those 10 months. So it was $18.50 an hour. And I left a corporate job where I made about $100 an hour. So it was not a great trade. But I remember in that moment when I was doing that calculation, I just decided I was going to make 500 grand working 2,000 hours. So I wanted my AGI, my tax return, which had never been anywhere near even, it was 200,000 where I came from. So I wanted to be 500,000 adjusted gross income. And I wanted to work on average a 40-hour work week as a real estate agent. And it took me about five years to get there. But how many things do you have to say no to go from $18.50 an hour, where I'm working all the hours? Like I can't work any more hours. What does the journey look like from going from $18.50 to, ultimately, I think one year I made like $2,800 an hour in my real estate team. And that's the journey that I take people on. So you can, Dave Friedman and Kirby Skurrod and these guys that were doing 50 to 100 deals and losing their minds, how do they 5-10x their businesses? It's just every 90 days looking at where am I literally spending my time? What am I passionate about and what pays really well? And just a series of iterations of delegations and just getting systems or technology or an administrator. Most of what a real estate agent does is administrative work. Like 80% of what a real estate agent does is administrative. And I heard like 85% of agents don't have an admin. So most of the job is administrative.
Yeah.
And most of agents don't have an administrator. So you're an administrator if you're a successful real estate agent and you don't have an admin. Mm-hmm. So I know there's a lot in there, but it's just being honest with yourself about where you spend your time. And then also like, where do you veg out and where do you numb out? Are you spending too much time on social media? Are you, spending too much time watching Netflix? Are you saying that you want to be an achiever in all these areas? And are you actually willing to have there's a saying in this Christian business owners group I belong to, priorities are what we do. Everything else is just talk.
Yeah.
So when you say your priorities, like it's easy. You ask a Christian business owner, like, what are your priorities? They're like, man, God, family, and business in that order. It's like, all right, well, let's hang out for 2 weeks. And it looks like you're spending 15 hours a day. And the thing you said was the least important.
Right.
And then you have a little bit of time to give your family. And then did you even have a conversation with God this week? Because I didn't see it. Like there was no proof. You would not be convicted of being a Christian if I, used on my 2 weeks of spending time with you. And so a lot of times we just have to eliminate the clutter and noise and get some margin in our days and weeks so that our priorities, our stated priorities can become where we're actually spending our time. And it's a journey, and it was a shit show when I did it. And I get to sit here from a different vantage point now, but it was hard doing it. So I'm not making any claims that it's an easy process, and it takes a lot of failure and tripping and, but always just keeping your eye on the prize of like, how many dollars do I want to make for every unit of work that I put into this business, and just keeping your eye on that.
Yeah. One of the things that I love with that comment, Lars, is the fact that, slowing down to speed up. That's one of the things that our good friend Hank Avick has been beating into my brain. And you just mentioned that as well. And I took that to heart the last couple of months. I've really slowed down, and I made myself one promise a day. I said, I will do one productive thing a day. And then I own the rest of my day to do whatever I want. And it has built my business, excuse me, tremendously, because where I'm spending my time and doing my lead generation and everything else and working with my clients is where I want to spend my time, not where I feel I need to spend my time. And I'm finding my tribe. And I think that's something that a lot of folks don't get, because they're in the hamster wheel. They never stop running. I've told the story 1,000 times on the show, and I'll share it again. My dad's been an agent for 53 years. He has had his retina detached from his eye twice out of stress dealing with clients. He missed family vacations and everything else. We can work smarter, not harder. And with like your coaching, your training, and the stuff that you're putting out there, I think a lot of people really benefit from it, basically, and also kind of following in your footsteps and kind of looking at your lifestyle and saying, man, this guy's doing a really stinking good job in business. He's building a good relationship with his family. Not that he didn't have a bad one, but you know what I'm saying. You're retaining it. And a lot of folks would love to have that lifestyle, but they want to 2x, 10x, 20x their business. I would love to hear your insights on some of those comments.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that comes up for me is the imbalance. A lot of times, we all know Tony Robbins' Wheel of Life and Wheel of Business. But if you just look at the Wheel of Life having 6 spokes, business being one of them, a lot of times these traditionally successful agents are a 10 out of 10 in real estate, but their marriage is crap, but they don't have a relationship with their kids. Their finances are ridiculous, so it's not a balanced wheel. So sometimes we have to take down one level, one area of our life so that we can build out some of the other areas. And that's the slowing down to speed up that is super, super hard. When I was back in the early days and I was the only one selling and I had a vision toward doing more in less time with less stress, I just took the hours like 10 p.m. to 2 or 3 a.m. Like I would put my wife and our son to bed. And I was like, okay, I mean, I'm going to hustle during the day doing the job of real estate agent. And then I'm going to build the business. I'm actually going to architect the business at night. And it's funny, Julie, my wife, she's just the most sweetest woman that you'll ever meet and so respectful. She only told me like years afterwards, and I launched Real Estate Beach School. She's like, honey, I thought you had like a porn addiction. I didn't know what you were doing up there for like 5 hours at a time. I'm like, honey, that's really not how I don't have a porn addiction, but I imagine it's not a 5 hour thing, you know, anyway. So,
hey, if you're doing it right.
So,
you know, they're building like Google Word doc and spreadsheet templates, and like it's like the exact as far away as you can get from a porn.
It's the exact opposite. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I was building like marketing systems, and I was working on my database and my client for life system and all of that stuff. So I guess the point of that, though, in the context of your comments, Greg, is that, you know, I don't think people really have a vision for how they want their business, their real estate business, to fit in with their life, and how is it possible to manage all of that. And it is like on a regular basis slowing down. So we teach and we swipe the term from Gino Wickman, Trackman, clarity breaks. You know, it's 60 to 90 minutes, immovable, as if it was a listing appointment once a week, no technology, where you're just asking for the 6 areas of your life, what's working and what's not working. That's it. So you just have an awareness about what's working and what's not working in the areas of your life that you say matter to you. And then you just get to make some decisions like, okay, well, I don't have the energy to show up at the end of the day, you know, to be a good dad and then a good husband. Like, where's that coming from? Well, I'm not getting enough sleep. Why am I not getting it? Well, I'm watching TV, or, you know, I'm drinking every day, or I'm eating like crap. And I've had all those vices, you know, but just to take some time out to sort of think about what might be getting us off track, because we have a vision of growth. And my vision, coming from a jacked up childhood, like I didn't have a dad. My dad drank until I was 15 years old. So I have like ton of anger and resentment toward that whole situation, ton of chaos. Luckily, I chose the acceptable path. You know, my addiction was achievement. And it's traditionally, you know, it's valued in society and all of that, but there's collateral sort of damage that can come along with that. As well, just being too focused on achieving and just everything else sort of gets trampled over in the process. So for me, it was a vision of like, yeah, I want to be a good dad. I want to be a good husband. I want to take care of my physical body and stay close to God. And also I want to achieve in business. And I played a different game. My goal is to make a 7-figure income working 1,000 hours.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's just, awesome. And not every year do I get there. And so, you know, I've made more than 7 figures, and I've made, you know, anywhere from 750 to $1.2 million, but I'm just not willing to go out of bounds. And this year, I'll probably only work about 1,000 to maybe 1,200 hours, but I could probably make a whole lot more. But I just wanted to, business really shouldn't take 50 to 60 hours a week, you know, and if it does, it's just too many hours. And so
too much admin work. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just think even at the basic level, there are so many real estate agents that shouldn't be real estate agents. They're better administrators.
Yes.
A top agent can partner with more of an admin, like God created this person to be an admin, but they want to do real estate. Like, let them do their 5 SOI deals, but let them be your admin. You know, they probably have a need for, and, you know, pay them hourly, or, and then you can double, just with that model, you can double your production, or hire a courier. In a metro market, we advertise for a courier at $8 to $9 an hour.
Really?
And we get 100 applicants. And granted, when we find one, we increase them to 10 to 12 pretty quick. but they only last about, 18 to 24 months anyway. But you look at any agent selling 10 to 30 homes, and they are 40 to 50% of their time, they're in their car doing courier stuff.
Yeah.
And they think they're busy.
Well, they are busy, but they're not being productive. There's a big distinction there.
And when you draw the line in the sand, like my goal is to make $1,000 an hour, you feel like an idiot when you're driving to pick up your laundry and then you're getting a yard sign. And then you're like, think of all, like, I can literally pay someone $15 an hour to do all that. And so it's just but it's also, look, it's a nice day out. I get to show homes today. I get to run errands essentially, and I get paid for it, but you're not really getting paid for it. So it's just an awareness around what you want to make, what you're currently making, and you got to stop doing a lot of things to get from my $18.50, to 250, 500, then 1,000. And that's the same journey with every one of our most successful members, is that you just have to stop doing things in the right order, put the right systems in place, that sort of thing.
I mean, I got to tell you, Matt is looking for a side gig. So if you guys want him to run errands for you, he'd be happy to fly anywhere you guys want. But in all seriousness, my father years ago built me a spreadsheet for my prospecting time. And it showed me what my minute was worth, my hour was worth, what my contact was worth, hourly, the whole 9 yards. I came out to being about $2,200 an hour value based upon the prospecting and the price points. And then I was worth $9 a minute for me to just sit there. And as soon as I started seeing these numbers, like you were talking about, Lars, you see them and you're like, oh my gosh, like what in the blank have I been doing? Like I've got to stop doing dumb shit, pay someone else who's not that they're dumb, but pay someone else who's willing to accept that hourly charge, and you go make the dollars that if you're $2,300 to $2,800 an hour, I mean, every doctor and lawyer would be just all over themselves at that valuation. It's unbelievable. And nobody really takes the time to really look at the numbers. And you're coaching in kind of the B school. Why do people not look at the numbers? What's the main reason you've seen?
I mean, I think the industry attracts, there's like no barrier to entry. And a lot of folks didn't choose, like they didn't really choose real estate. I mean, I think it's changing. It's certainly shifting. And I think a lot of personalities that are attracted to real estate are personalities that their God-given ability doesn't include spreadsheets. It's just not that, like, a successful real estate agent, they get successful because they have a lot of friends and they're outgoing, and like a spreadsheet, people come into our world and they're like, spreadsheets, oh my gosh, that's like the worst thing ever. So we have to make spreadsheets like simple to use. I think that's probably one of the big drivers. And then it's like, I don't know. I think there's a level of comfort, and I think people say they want to be challenged and they say they want accountability, but
no, they don't.
They don't. Like,
no, they don't.
It's easier to, on a Friday afternoon and the weather's nice and you don't have any appointments from 2 to 5. How many people really are going to double down and prospect during that time?
Very, very, very little. I mean,
like 1 out of 500, maybe.
Well, that's a good estimate, by the way. I mean, it's retarded. I mean, the reason when I was flat broke, I literally had $35 to my name. I didn't have a pot to piss in. I had nothing, and I had debt. And so I worked 7 days a week, probably 15 to 18 hours a day. And I didn't stop for 5 years. It has to find that driver. But like you're saying, if you want to double your business, you will burn out doing that 100%. I did.
And during that time, did you probably sold a lot of homes, but did you have administrative support?
Minimal. And that's where the biggest flaw is because if I can, and I have since then.
Yeah, and you kind of said it. And I think, sorry to interrupt you, but you said it when we think like we have visions to make a lot of money, and we can sort of just decide that we're going to be successful, and we have those personalities. But most of the stuff we do it's lower dollar per per hour stuff. Crap, I was going to have a really good thought and I just totally lost it.
It's okay. Matt's rubbing off on you.
Hold on. You know, it's thinking like, well, who would want to do whatever? Who would want to like pick up my laundry, or who would, you know, I don't think we slow down to think that there are people that are paid minimum wage to clean toilets and to, you know what I mean? Like there is a market for everything. Yep. And we just have to realize that, you know, if you want to have a life, then you have to be willing to let go of some things in your business. And it's at least half of the activities that you do. If you're selling a good amount of real estate, that's the thing that's holding you back. You know, I believe hustle and grind can get you to 20 to 30 deals. Like I think that's like only 1.8% of agents will sell 25 homes a year. It's like really low. Yeah. But you know, once you get to that point, from 25 to 50 and 50 to 100 is doing less.
It is 100% doing less. I have not written a contract in the last 10 years. My team manager, Eileen, she's a licensed agent, so it's 100% legal, writes all my contracts. She does all the legwork with communication. Only thing I have to do is bring in the deals. She'll handle all the paperwork and everything else to and from. If there's a fire, then I will jump in. When she says, Greg, you got to talk to this agent, or you got, you know, this is the issue we're having here, or negotiate, you know, whatever. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll jump in, I'll do it. And I completely agree with you, because people, when you're going to get to that level of double Xing your business, right? You, like your Lars was saying, like you have to take away some of the responsibilities. You're not the best at everything. Like we're probably all high D, high I's on this call right now, somewhere in that ballpark. My admin, she's a high S, high C. Like she hates people and she loves paperwork. And I'm like, and she would shoot me if I had to get her on a video camera, but I've never met a camera or a mic I don't like. And she's the opposite. But find that counterpart, like you were saying, Lars, and it's so powerful to relieve a lot of the stress, because when you're doing that amount of deals, you physically can't do all that work. You just can't. You have to bring on a team.
And I do not like the fact that you called me even a DI. So there's not a lot of I over on this side. I can't.
Oh, sorry. A DS, I'm assuming?
DC. I'm a spreadsheet guy that I want to drive 100 spreadsheets into the world.
I'm going to publicly apologize for all the listeners. Did not mean to insult him as being a personable person. He is more a special.
The last thing I would want people to know about me.
That's right. Lars would like to invite you all over to his house. We'll be giving everyone his home address at the end of the show. It's going to be great. It's going to be a big party.
Yeah, I was explaining to these guys that this morning I had to leave my home, and it was like the biggest imposition. I had to, you know, be face to face with somebody. Not that I don't love, you know, helping people. It's just I just want to do it from my shell.
Yeah, so you're an agoraphobe. You know, peeing in bottles, staying inside, washing your hands consistently every 20 minutes, and you're just like, oh, the closest I want to get to you is.
And that's why the podcast is this amazing thing, right? I get to just like say everything I believe, and it's like, oh, you don't have a differing opinion? Great. It's like one way.
That's right. It's like, hey, you're a guest in my house. You get to just hang out and agree with me. It's going to be awesome. Oh, my gosh. All right. Well, we have limited time, so let's do this. Speaking of the show, everybody should go check it out. Real Estate Team Builders is on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all the usual places. If you're not aware, if you're an Amazon Music user, as I am, you can also get podcasts on that platform as well. So that's something that's come along this summer, I believe. Lars, you're going to be doing a whole series basically about kind of this topic, you know, doubling your production and cutting your time in half, and just that overarching kind of thing. Give people some idea of what to expect and maybe some of the topics that you cover in the series.
Yeah. So as of this recording, we're 2 in. I expect it's kind of like a sermon where the preacher doesn't know how many weeks he's going to go. So I think I told the listeners, you know, 4 to 5. So the first one was on like just being honest with where you're spending your time, and offering folks a time study. I'm making them email me personally to get it, and then I'm making them share it with me when they get it done. That was number one. Then the second one was passion versus pay. So based on where you're spending your time, how many of those things pay well, and how many do you even like doing? I'm going to go into ideal week. I'm going to go into weekly planning. I'm going to go into some of the mindset issues around like we all have the same time, and what motivates me to say no to some things and do the things, even if it's low passion, but high pay, how do I mentally get myself? Cause I'm not in a position where I'm financially driven at this point. For me, it's like, it's all impact. Like how many people can I impact? And so, so that's kind of the flavor of it. The ideal week, I think, is the most important. Like for me, I need to know where I'm supposed to be. If my calendar isn't clear, including like when I'm not supposed to be working, like, okay, my calendar says work shutdown. What should I do now? It's like, you should shut down your work. It's like, oh, okay. So something little like that. So I'm pretty far in my business journey, and I still have that in my calendar, 5 to 5:30. Work shutdown is like, okay, quickly check emails, plan the next day, move some tasks over, has to happen. But if I don't have that there and it doesn't pop on my screen, I can, my wife will come in at 6:30 and she'll say, hey, are you coming down? Like, what's the deal? Cause I'll just have a tendency to keep rolling. So, and then all the personal stuff and color coded and all that stuff. It's, it sounds like it's not all that spontaneous, but it allows me to do all the things that I want to do and in all the different roles that are important to me. So that's kind of the flavor of it. And I think I talk about your world versus the world, how someone asked me at one point, like, how do you get so much done when there's so much chaos in the world? And I said, the world, what do you mean the world? I'm like, my world is like this,
the 8 feet around
and
your
then
podcast
like
desk.
my kids will come in and hide behind this and talk to me like while I'm working. Like my world is 2 kids, a wife, a podcast, growing EXP. It's like, it's pretty small world, and my faith, my relationship with God. And they're like, yeah, but the Afghanistan or, whatever, it's like, that's the world. Like, that's not my world. Like, I can't control it. And people are like in the news. And I've even caught myself here recently watching, one news program that has me addicted to it. And now thinking like, okay, the world is going to end. Where am I going to bring my family? Like, this is coming back like any moment, so it has me. And so I'm susceptible, like everyone is susceptible, and now Yellowstone's back on. Right. And I have like 4 Netflix series that are, I'm all waiting for the next season. So I'm in all that crap with everybody. But I just have some disciplines about days I can watch TV, days I can't watch TV. I started using habit share again, so I have accountability around my habits. So it's
talk about habit share. What is that?
Yeah, it's an app where you pick your habits, so daily habits, and you share it with buddies that are on the same app. So
really interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'll show you all but one of my habits.
Well, we don't want to see that one.
It's sleep 7 hours, cardio for 30 minutes, sauna, meditate, Bible reading and recap, my high intensity workout, my strength trainings, my fasting, drinking a gallon, no TV, no news ever again. I've missed that one for like 2 weeks. No sugar or snacks. And then there's one other one about purity habit, which you guys can figure out.
Gotcha.
So those are my habits, and I just share them with a couple of buddies of mine, and they have different habits, and we can see each other and hold each other accountable to
something I know we have to wrap up here, Matt. I'm going to drag this out as long as possible so I can know you to God's green end. Less. But the couple of things, the 2 things that I really liked is where you spend your time. That's, people really don't understand where you spend your time. You and I live in the same life. Like, our calendars, my admin literally says that my calendar makes her dizzy, quote, because I do color coding and everything else. But also, clarity breaks, we don't always have to be on 100%. And for clarity breaks, for me, what I do is I take Fuzzbutt over here. And if I've just had enough with a client or a conversation with an agent, or I'm just done for whatever reason, I take him to the beach and I let him run and I chase him till he water pukes. And then we walk back and then we put him back in the car and he completely covers my car in sand. But the thing is that, we get out there and it's just freedom. It's like life just shifts. It changes because you have a different, viewpoint on it. All of us can make a lot of money. But if you're not gonna make it mentally through it, what's the frigging point? Take a break. Just relax for a half a freaking minute, and then like Tony Robbins always says. Actually, it wasn't Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins. It was Will Smith in one of the interviews he did about a decade ago. He said, "Just make a choice. Just choose, and the world will open up to you." And so, what you're teaching, I'm resonating with it big time, because it speaks to the heart, to the soul, to the spirit, to the mind, and to your body. Because if you push too hard, you grind, you'll be ground down to nothing. So take a break. Like you said, get clarity breaks, and then identify where you spend your time. That is some amazing information right there, man. This is not a joke. I'm personally impacted by this because it is speaking to my soul right now. And I really appreciate you spending some time with us today.
Man, Greg, I'll expect your report awesome. At the end of the day.
Shut up.
I want to know where you're spending your time and how much of it is wrapped around a bottle of vodka, or I'm not sure what's happening over there, but I'm guessing that's something like that.
I would go. I'm actually more of a wine guy these days. Thank you very much. And by the way, I have a wine cabinet right behind me, and we have probably $2,000 to $3,000 worth of wine just in that cabinet. So screw you on the vodka.
I made the commitment with these couple buddies of mine to not drink for a year. So I've done 3 months and 6 months, and it was August 21st. So I guess we're soon to be 3 months into a 12-month of no drinking. And I don't think I'm ever drink again. I couldn't figure out an upside to drinking.
There is none. There is none.
So that's just one of the things that, when I look at like, what is God calling me into, and like, what could be the impact that if I can get out of my own way, and if I can eliminate distractions, and what's the next stage? And I think everyone needs to ask that question. If I can get some margin, and I can stop doing maybe the things that are taking me off of achieving in the areas of life that matter, like what's the next thing that God would open up for me? And then when you get there, what's the next thing? And there's a series of next things. And the last thing I'll say, because I know we're at time, is it's just consistency. Like, I had to prospect internet buyers until I didn't have to, and then I had to learn how to do listings until I didn't have to. And then I learned how to manage people and coach agents until I didn't have to. And then I started B school, and I had to learn how to coach people, totally different animal. And then I learned how to, bring on coaches. And so it's kind of sticking with an assignment until you're ready for the next assignment. And most agents are so sporadic. They're not going to stick with lead gen for 3 years. You talk to, I've got a client who's awesome, Greg Sisson. He's an MFO guy. He would have 60 conversations a day for his first 3 years, 5 days a week for his first 3 years in the business.
Wow. That's a lot.
60 meaningful conversations.
Holy
and so
man.
That's 300 a week times 250. So it's like 7,500. He had 22,500 conversations in his first 3 years in real estate. And he's lethal on the phones. And
I want to meet him.
And he's like, agents anymore don't even have like 5 conversations a day, and they would just want to be successful. And so there's just a having to do the things that nobody else wants to do long enough to get good at them, where the fun part is making money at will,
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I off air. I want to get this guy's information because I've done over 600,000 cold calls myself, and over 200,000 door knocks, and so I understand like that mentality, that grind. It is not fun. It is not sexy, and I'll tell you one thing: it sucks so hard to do that. But like you said, you got to grind out. What is an MFO? By the
way, Mike Ferry organization.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know some like weird slang that I wasn't, tuned into. Okay.
I was just trying to be cool.
Okay. Well, you definitely achieved it.
I was never a Mike Ferry guy, but I mean, he's a legend, right? So
he is. Yeah, he really is.
Greg is a beast. Yeah, that's for sure. All right, guys. So everybody check out Real Estate Team Builders, Apple Podcasts, and iTunes. And then, Greg, what's the best way to reach out and connect with you?
Matt, you're doing this wrong because we're supposed to introduce each other, not.
Oh, that's right.
God, you're screwing it up.
All right, hang on. Okay. If
Back
someone
that
is
bus up.
interested in not having to roll into an office that you pay for that you barely don't go into anymore anyway, and you would also like to build passive leveraged income and get stock options and make money in 6 or 7 different ways and all that good stuff that comes with EXP, and you resonate with me and Greg and would like to potentially join through us, then reach out to Greg, and your phone number that haunts my dreams, 925-915-1978. I have memorized that for probably 6 years. They should text you and get a call set up.
They should. They actually really should.
They
At
should.
100%.
And that is actually your real phone number, unlike when you give out mine, which is a fake one every time.
402-331-1196. Yeah. I feel bad for that old lady who's probably sitting there going, why are these people calling me?
Some random person in North Platte. You just gave out their phone number. Okay. And then what's my call to action, Greg?
Guys, reach out to Matt. He's got an amazing book. If you can't see it right behind him, it's called Micro Famous. It is a phenomenally written book, great content. You will truly enjoy it. You can go to getmicrofamous.com. You can get a book. You just have to pay for the shipping. Matt won't pay for that, but you can pay for that. But he'll give you the book for free.
That's we don't do the free physical book shipping with stuff like that. Just get the free digital copy at getmicrofamous.com, or you can get the physical copy on Amazon.
Let me finish. Cock block.
If you get accurate information, I will let you finish.
All right. You know what, Lars? We're going to have you back because Matt's just not letting me do my job. But anyways, reach out to him. He's got an amazing podcasting service as well. He is very selective in the clients that he takes on, but he was definitely looking for a next amazing human being. So reach out to him and see if the services might work out for you. But Matt, Lars, you both have a very important job to do here, okay? Now, Lars, I need a color for the bow on this show. What would it be?
Blue.
Blue. All right, you're my boy, Blue. Matt, what's gonna be your color?
Let's go with silver.
Silver. Okay. All right, everybody. Hey, thanks for watching and listening to the podcast today. We really, truly love you and appreciate you. We cannot do this without you. That is 100% honest truth. We are going to put a blue. Thank you, Lars. We're going to put a silver. Thank you, Matt. Bow on the show. Go out there, guys, everywhere you guys listen to podcasts or watch podcasts. Give us a 5-star, not a 2-star review, so the algorithm will be known to show it up to additional human beings. And please hashtag Lars, hashtag Matt, hashtag myself if you like anything that we said. But until next time, peace out, ninjas. We're gone.